Let's unite our energies to form a chain of love that extends beyond physical borders, radiating positivity and compassion.
You know, business districts of United States and UK and other places, I feel terrible for these women. All the time they have to be in a certain way. It is so hard to be a woman in the Western country these days. At one time it looked like freedom. You will see it is so extremely difficult to be a woman because she has to be always balancing on four-inch heels, and she has to be dressed like this, and she has to carry these bags like a man. Everything, heavy bags and computers and going here, going there, just doing the same stupid things that man is doing. This is all about how I earned a few dollars more than another man. This is just a stupid way to structure life both for a man and a woman, and for a woman it will lead to lot more suffering. Today, over 40 years of age, I think over 45 years of age, 42% of the women in America are on some kind of antidepressants or something else. This doesn't speak well, this doesn't show that it's worked, isn't it? Well, exploitation comes. Whoever is powerful tries to exploit. See, you must understand it's not about a man or a woman. Whoever has the power tries to exploit. People are not trying to exploit the woman. They will exploit another man also, a child. Why children are beaten in this world? Simply because they're small. Hello? If your children were bigger than you, would you beat them, I'm asking you? So, anything that is weaker than you, somewhere you think you must exploit. If this has to go, the front end of your life should be your consciousness. Why consciousness is? See, when we sit here, your body is your body, my body is my body, 100%. Till they bury us, we don't understand it's the same stuff. Yes? When they bury us, we get it, it's the same soil. But right now, this is me, that's you, 100%. Now you are very cautiously agreeing, disagreeing, because your mind is your mind, my mind is my mind. Yes? But when it comes to life, there is no such thing as your life and my life. There is just life, this is a living cosmos. You captured a little bit of life, I captured a little bit, somebody else captured a little bit. But it's like blowing soap bubbles. You blew soap bubbles when you were young? Yeah. So you got only this big bubble, somebody got this big bubble. Same soap. Everybody has air in the lungs, but one person gets this big bubble, another person gets this big bubble. Why do you think? Certain level of attention, isn't it? In blowing a simple soap bubble, there is a certain methodology and a technique to it. Now you filled up this much, poop, it went. Then you can't say, this is my air. There's no such thing. So similarly, as you sit here, there is your body and my body, your mind and my mind, there's no such thing as your life and my life. If you put that as the front end of your life, all these discriminations, prejudice, nonsense, your body will not work against you and anybody, your mind will not work against you or anybody, your emotions will not work against you or anybody, because it is the identity which decides how your mind functions, isn't it? Right now this feminism is coming from, I'm identified as a woman. No, physically you're a woman, it's fine. 50% of the population should be women, always. Always it should be. That is good. But your identity need not be 100%. You are identified as a woman at one level, but your identity need not be 100% with your female body, because this means we are identifying with body parts. If we must identify with body parts, why choose reproductive organs? At least choose the brains. But brain is my enemy.
So this is another question from Shruti. This question is for Sadhguru, the style icon. Nowadays, fashion is a multi-billion-dollar industry. at the same time, in the name of fashion, really unappealing, gross trends also come out. In the name of fashion, are crossing a line, and how do we identify the line? I'm sorry. Are we crossing the line, and how do we identify the line?
Well, the first sentence, withdraw that one, huh? I'm not a style icon or something. See, for those of you who do not know this, the third largest polluter on the planet is fashion industry right now. It's estimated across the world, compared to how many clothes, how much clothing our grandparents had, how much clothing we have is on an average 5 times more. All of you seeing that, isn't it? They're saying by 2025, that will double. That means we'll be 10 times more than our grandparents. Out of this, all this cloth that we are wearing, 98% of it is now synthetic fiber, only 2% is natural fiber. Out of this, 95% is polyfiber. Polyfiber has entered our bodies, has entered the plants, has entered the animals, has entered the food chain, water, soil, everything. This is one thing that's gone under the radar. Everybody is trying to shoot at that little plastic bag, which must be done, of course, but the polyfiber cloth is the largest polluter which is going under the radar. It is sitting on our clothing, on our bodies, constantly polluting everything because the micro polyfiber is just getting into everything. There are no poignant pictures of a turtle being trapped in a plastic bag or something like that, but we are all those turtles stuck in these things. So one of the things that we are doing is, as you know from your history, that India was the greatest supplier of textiles to the rest of the world at one time. 60% of the world's exports was Indian textiles 300 years ago. It was systematically destroyed during the British era. Over 3 to 4 million people died in about 50 years simply because the industry was systematically knocked down. And that's one reason why when the English left, nearly 91 or 92% of the people were in agriculture, because all these weavers went back to agriculture just for sustenance. That is why such small holdings all over the place and agriculture being in such disarray, one reason is because of destruction of handloom industries. To a point where one of the governor-generals said, the fields of India are bleached by the bones of the hand weavers in 1816, because millions died. So having said that, we still have the skills. India is poised, if we do the right things, to be able to clothe the world once again in a sensible way, in a natural way. And in the sense, this can be economically fantastic. We could completely stop farmer suicides and the distress of the farmer if part of the agriculture is towards generating natural fiber. We have various natural fibers in this country. Fortunately, I'm seeing the more high-end fashion designers. Recently, I don't know if you saw, we had conversation with Sabyasachi, and people like this are promoting natural fiber. Well, now that you called me a fashion icon, let me admit this. In the month of October, we are having a fashion show in New York City. Woo! This fashion show, I'm not going to walk the ramp, okay? This is not about showing the apparel, but this is about exposing the top designers in America to Indian textile, the fabric. So 30 varieties of fabric we are already have already transported to United States, it's waiting there. We're going to display this and give this material to them, of some part of it free of cost, so that they can try what they want. And to promote this could be a game changer for India's economy. It need not necessarily be handloom, even if it is machine woven, but natural fiber. If natural fiber comes back, there is no other nation on the planet which has the skills that we have. Over 120 distinct varieties of weaves we have in this country. Nearly 50 of them will die any time in the next 10 to 15 years because only one old person, one little couple are doing something, their children have become software engineers. And it will die in the next 10-15 years unless we revive, because we must understand this. I don't know if you've ever been to a handloom weaving thing, have you been there? Yeah. In Bangalore, there's a lot of silk saree weaving, you must go and see. At one time, my father believed that I will go into this because the larger family was involved in silk weaving. So I went there to see, I was just 17, I wanted to see how they do it. I was, cocky and like that. He's working on the loom, they're weaving a silk saree, he's just doing I'm just… I think, at that time I think I'm smart, then I realized that's different. And I'm paying full attention and looking. Simply he's doing this, simply one flower opens up in the cloth, another flower opens up here, geometrically perfect. If you have to put this into your software, it will take so much effort. This guy's got it in his head simply. So, we have destroyed this mainly because of compulsory education. Okay? If a son or a daughter with their father or mother goes to the loom or to the agricultural field to work with their parents, the parents could be arrested because child labor. So we are determined to destroy all the skills in the country and have millions of graduates who have the attitude of the educated and who don't know how to do a damn thing in their life. So, we push the education system towards only 50% of the time that you spend in the school should be academics. Rest of the time in villages, agriculture, craft, music, dance, folk arts, many things. For the first time, the central government announced about a month ago, 50% of the time is academics. But to implement that, it'll take… the speed at which we move, it may take 10-15 years because infrastructure, training, you need teachers and everything. So coming to fashion, I think all of you must be style icons in some way. That means you're not just imitating some rubbish that some model or somebody does, something that fits you. Because each body is made differently, there is a certain way to arrange aesthetics for your own self. For your body, and style is also for your mind and emotion, isn't it? Not just about your body. So it must arrange itself like that, and please, maybe right now it's not possible for everybody, at least one day in a week, please wear natural fiber. Many farmers will not die if you do just this one thing. At least one day in a week, wear natural fiber, you may save many farmers' lives because this will be a steady market. If you grow more vegetables, it goes on the street. If you grow less, it's always a struggle. But if part of it goes into producing natural fiber as it used to be in this country, we were the largest cotton and jute manufacturers in the world, but all wiped out. Time to get it back.
So the next question is from Uma. The question goes, life in cities have become a nightmare for girls. Groping, leering, lewd comments in public transport are a norm that girls have to put up with and unfortunately don't raise their voice against. What to do about such upsetting civilizational evils?
It's an unfortunate reality. At that moment, I know what is the reaction and what is it that we feel like doing. That's a different matter. But we must look at the larger picture. Why? Why is such a thing happening? See, this is because we are a society in transition. We have sort of given up our traditional ways of doing things. We have not caught up with another way of doing life totally. We're just hanging in between for too long. In the sense, probably 30 to 40% of the young people that you see in the cities are migrants, they've come from elsewhere. One thing is, when you're in a new place, you can afford to be irresponsible. They won't behave like that in their own village, okay? Because there are consequences. Here they are new. And another thing we have to address, if we have to look at it compassionately, is if he was in his village, his mother, his mausi, his atte, somebody would be talking, see, we're going to get you married to that girl, see that girl, that is going to be your wife. Whether it's going to happen or not, that's not the point. He thinks there is a solution for his hormonal struggles. Yes, it's a reality, come on. Between the ages of 15 and 25, this is at its peak. So, even if there is no physical solution, there must be a solution in thought and emotion that he knows that, this year you're going to get married, no, this year the crop is not good, okay, you'll get married next year, they may postpone it 5 years, but he is living in that comfort that there is a solution for him. You take that guy and transplant him into Bangalore city. He's just a wild creature. He's living somewhere, 10 people in one room. Daytime one set sleeps, nighttime another set sleeps in the same room. That's a living conditions, I'm saying. And there is no family, there is no any kind of balancing factor in him, there's no society for him, it's just dog-eat-dog world for him. And for his hormonal stuff, there is no solution. Nobody is telling him that girl is for you. His mind is going crazy. He watches movies, these days pornographic stuff is all over the place, he's watching it on the phone. So he thinks this is what every girl wants. He is unable to think beyond that, you must understand his problem. See, first of all, what puberty or adolescence means is, see, when you were, let's say 10, 12 years of age, you looked at somebody, they were just fine. Suddenly you became 14, 15, your intelligence got hijacked by your hormones. You look at somebody, every bump on their body looks like a world by itself. Yes, this is the reality. Now that guy who is transplanted from a village to here, and his idea of a woman was his mother or his mausi or somebody, now he's seeing young girls here, the kind of girls that he only saw in movies maybe. Now one drop of alcohol, the guy will pounce on you. Little more push he needs. All these rapes and things you're seeing is just this. Already he's out of control, he's somehow holding himself, put 1 or 2 drops of alcohol in his mouth, boom, he'll go crazy. So this is an unfortunate situation, it's a cruel situation for him, it's a cruel situation for those who are victimized by him. But we are a society in transition, it's time we address our issues directly. Don't go on thinking it'll get solved if we close our eyes and sit. It doesn't get solved. So, as a society, we must debate. Are you going to go back to 16 years of age, you can get married? Or are you going to go back to a place where you will discuss and see how to conduct this society? After all, there are young people, they have their needs. How are you going to address this? We need to directly, head-on, we must approach it, not slinking around it, not hiding behind religious books and this and that. You need to address it, this is the issue, how to deal with it. If you don't do that, this is what they're doing. See, one thing is, when such things are done to you, how horrible you feel is one thing. But I want you to also think, how degenerate does he feel doing these things? There is a certain degeneration. He can only do it when he believes he cannot be caught, isn't it? Because there is a certain degeneration of mind, essentially because it is just like a hungry child grabbing something and running away to eat. He is in the same mode with his sexuality. So we need to address this. Very important we address it. The sooner we address it, the better it is.
Thank you, Sadhguru. We have questions from the audience now. We will be taking questions from the audience. Logistic members, please help the audience.
You don't look like Mount Carmel.
There is a question on top as well. Yes, please address it to Sadhguru.
Namaste, Sadhguru.
Namaskaram.
I'm Harshita. My question to you is, what do you think about the concept of hell or heaven? Hell or heaven? What do you think about that concept?
I heard it. I was just trying to figure out where you are, what… Is it heaven or… if you jump, it'll be hell for sure.
I won't do that.
So, listen.
Thank you, Harshita.
See, those who have made a hell out of themselves are always aspiring to go to heaven. Yes. If I am sitting here and I'm blissed out, totally, look at my eyes. It looks like I'm always stoned. Yes, never touched a substance, but this is the most complex chemical factory in the world. Is that so? Do you agree with me? The question is only, are you a great CEO or a lousy CEO of this chemical factory? If you are a great CEO, you would keep this all the time, blissed out, right chemistry. If you're a lousy CEO, you produce bad chemistry and you think it's because of this one or that one or that one. So, for some reason people are feeling miserable. Their chemical factory is not going the way they want. They can call it sadness, they can call it misery, they can call it depression. I know in Bangalore a whole lot of people are against me, continuously trying to troll me because of depression business. I'm saying again, for those activists, I'm saying again, if you know how to manage your chemistry, your depression will go. Even if you go to the doctor, he's only going to give you chemicals, isn't it? So do you think the pharmaceutical industry that they're using there has better chemical structures than my body? Do you believe that? That means you're a vested interest, you have investments in pharma industry. So, when this is feeling like hell, we hope that somewhere when we go up there, how are you feeling out there? That everything will be fantastic. What's her name? Arpita? Harshita. Harshita. Harshita means, blissed out. So, this happened in Alabama. You know Alabama state? It's a special state, it's a different kind of state, hardcore religious state. So in a Sunday school teacher was going all out, full rhetoric, full force. And unfortunately, the audience were not like you, they were all tiny tots. It's a catch them young policy. In his full rhetoric, he was going and children were sitting like this. Suddenly he stopped for dramatic impact. He stopped and he said, "What do you have to do to go to heaven?" Little Mary in the front bench stood up and said, "If I mop the church floor every Sunday morning, I will go to heaven." Absolutely. Another little girl out there said, If I share my pocket money with my less privileged friend, I will go to heaven. Correct. Another boy said, if I help people who are in need, I will go to heaven. Correct. Little Tommy in the back bench stood up and said, "You gotta die first." Well, that's a qualification. If you want to go to heaven, you got to die first. So when you die, depending on your culture, we will either bury you or burn you or cut you and throw you to the birds. Yes, one of these things we will do, depending on your culture. So one thing is very clear, you will put your body back into the earth and it's a very eco-friendly thing to do. If you've not done anything in your life eco-friendly, that is one act which will be good. You should not take your body and go. You must put it back into the earth because this belongs to the earth. So you left your body and went to heaven. You know what is in heaven, Harshita? No? You know? Okay, okay. So, what is in heaven? In Hindu heaven, food is very good. If you are a foodie, you must go to Hindu heaven. Nala himself will cook personally for you. He's the greatest chef. If you go to another kind of heaven, white-gowned ladies will float around in the clouds. If you like that kind of ambience, you go there. If you go to another heaven, you will have virgin problems. If that's what you're looking for, you go there. But you went there without the body. What do you do with good food and virgins, I'm asking? Hello? You don't have a body? These are all bodily problems, isn't it? No body, what do you do with food and virgins? In the Hindu way of life, there is a thing, up there in heaven, there is an Akshaya Patra. How much ever you eat, food will always be full. Well, when you go without a body, food will always remain full in the vessel. And they will always remain virgins. So, we have been doing this for a long time. This was one simple way. You must understand the managerial skills of the traditional people. This was a way of managing humanity. You're miserable. Don't worry, when you go there, everything will be okay. Solace. So if it is a psychologist saying these things, it's okay. But you really made them believe everything is going to be better somewhere, you can mess up your life here, that's not good. Somebody is in deep state of suffering, don't worry, when you go and sit in God's lap, everything will be okay. It's a psychological tool. It's fine when people are in extreme states, but don't brand it and sell it everywhere because it's not going to work like that. So, now heavens are collapsing in people's minds. Why there is such an increase of consumption of alcohol and drugs on the planet is mainly because still people are not articulating it, but in their minds, heavens are collapsing. How many of you are thinking, one day when I go to heaven, everything will be fantastic? Not many of you, I'm sure. But in the previous generation, if you had looked, the numbers were quite significant. So heavens are obviously collapsing in human mind because if you ask three questions, all the three heavens will collapse. Yes. So now once human intellect became active, inevitably it'll ask questions. If you ask questions, these things will collapse. So people are trying to have alternatives right here, that they're getting drunk and drugged right here. So this is the moment. All of you young people must understand this. At this point of time, if we don't raise human consciousness in a big way, if you don't teach people how to sit here absolutely blissed out by your own nature, believe me, in another 50 to 70 years' time, at least 90% of the human population will be on some kind of chemical. To be healthy, they need chemicals. To be peaceful, they need chemicals. To be joyful, they need chemicals. For everything, they need chemicals. I want you to know this, 70% of US population is on prescription medication. The most affluent nation on the planet. Why does individuals and society seek affluence? Because the first step of affluence is choice of food, choice of nourishment. The second step of affluence is choice of lifestyles. The most incredible variety of food is in front of you and enormous lifestyle choices are there, and in this society, 70% of the people are on pharmaceutical, prescription medication. This clearly shows if you do economic development without also cultivating human consciousness, our wealth will become our biggest problem. So we are still on the threshold of economic development. This is the time where we have to invest in evolving human consciousness. For all this previous question, the problems that you asked and everything, fundamentally evolution of human societies need to happen. But there is no such thing as a society, there's just you and me. It's only individual people. If you and me evolve, society has evolved, world has evolved, isn't it? Society is only abstract, it is actually all of us individuals, isn't it? So if individual evolution in terms of becoming conscious doesn't happen, you will see 90% of the population will fall into chemicals. When they fall into chemicals, I'm not talking about this as a moral thing. If 90% of the human population goes on constant usage of chemicals, the next generation that we produce will be a generation which will be much less than who we are. And that's a crime against humanity. Every generation, the next generation that comes, must be at least one notch better than who we are. If we produce a generation less than us, then we have committed a crime against humanity, we have taken humanity backwards. And that is what will happen if chemical usage multiplies and it is going wild. This is the time to raise consciousness, that's why we are here with you. To blow your mind without cocaine.
I think Anjali has a follow-up question to that, so post her question, we will continue taking questions from the audience.
So just going back a little, so psychology and psychiatry has been infamously held by the neck because of pills. This is something that, has been like a raising concern in everybody's mind, because at least that stigma of going to counselors have fortunately come down a little, but the fact that people go to psychiatrists and the fact that they are prescribed pills is somehow still there. And the fact of the matter is that when a patient is put on pills, it's not the be-all and end-all of it. They do not stick to the pills for the rest of their lives. They are put on the pills so that the psychotherapy or like the therapy works on them, and little by little they are actually put off the pills. And until and unless that entire procedure of putting you off the pills and making you independently live without the pills happen, the procedure is incomplete. Unfortunately, a lot of these procedures are, left halfway because, people do not complete the term of, their therapy. But the entire science…
You're telling me… I'm not rubbishing the science. I did not rubbish the science. When nations across the world, almost without exception, fortunately, Europe was not going that way after World War II, but now once again they're going that way. Almost every nation has invested enormous amount of money in building and stockpiling arms, armaments, bombs, missiles, smart bombs. I don't know how a bomb can be smart, it's the dumbest thing to do. It is the dumbest thing to do. See, at least if I pick a fight with you with a sword or a stick or something, there is some crude animalistic pleasure attached to it. 1,000 people are sitting here, you just drop a bomb, all of them died. I don't know what is smart about that. I cannot understand this. But they are talking about smart bombs, where they're saying from 2 miles in the sky, they can drop the bomb into your house through the window. They're very proud of this. So this is not one nation, across the world, all right? So all of us as people, were we all thinking, all these bombs are being kept for entertainment, for display, or it's artwork, what did you think? One day it will be used. Yes or no? It has to be used somewhere. The question is on whom?
The question is not whether it will be used or not. The question is just where and on whom, isn't it? So when it is piling up, we are all okay with it. In every movie, there is no movie without a bomb or at least a smashed face. We are all enjoying it. When it really happens, we say, oh, we're shocked, we're shocked. It doesn't work like that, life. This is why I'm telling you about the soil. Will you grieve after the disaster? Or will you be that generation will turn the disaster around? This is all the choice we have, because this is our time on the planet. How we do our life is our life, isn't it? So, wars are almost inevitable because economies are built on war. Without war, a lot of people cannot survive. The largest industry on the planet is arms and armaments. How will you not use it? If I am making guns and bullets and I sell it to you and you don't shoot a single bullet, I'm disappointed with you. Hello? This happened, I was at the World Economic Forum. At that time, the Sudanese war was going on, terrible war. Over 2,600,000 people died, out of which 50% were children below 6 years of age. Can you beat it? 130,000 children die in one war. So, at that time, some, movie stars and others are going there and carrying one, an African child is always a trophy. You carry this child and take photo ops and all this is happening. And they showed a video where all these militants or soldiers or whatever you want to call them, they're just going in these pickup trucks, simply shooting at the sky, okay? I said, see, these guys, if I have a fight with you, at least I need to shoot you. If I'm shooting the sky, that means I have abundant supply of bullets, isn't it? Abundant supply. Otherwise I won't be shooting the clouds. If I'm fighting a war, when I shoot, I want somebody to die. Yes or no? Hello? I'm not going to shoot at the sky, but they're shooting at the sky with automatic weapons continuously. I said, see, somebody is supplying them plenty, all right? Otherwise nobody will shoot at the sky. I said, there are 62 industries in the world who manufacture that caliber of bullet. I will give you the addresses. Will you go and lock them up? No. You will go to the war zone and pick up a child and do drama. All you need to do is, if you take away the bullets, once that runs out, maybe they will hack each other, but you can't kill that many hacking, at least. If you can't transform the human being, at least you must defang him, isn't it? Hello? Yeah, defang means you take away his teeth at least. If transformation is possible, fantastic. If that is not possible, at least his empowerment you should bring it down, isn't it? So, we have no intent of stopping the war, let's be clear about that. When it happens to us or when it happens close to us, we will cry. When it's happening somewhere else, it's drama. This inhuman attitude towards war and to killing and the suffering that other people go through we must come out of that. Because most evil things have happened not necessarily because of evil intentions, simply apathy. You sleep through life. Is sleeping a crime? Hello? Is sleep a crime? Hello? No, sleep is a good thing. But if you sleep through your life is a disaster. That is what is happening to the world, both in terms of soil, both in terms of… and in terms of war. This is what is happening, we sleep through. After World War II, we formed League of Nations, we made United Nations. The idea was never again such wars will happen, right? Not just for Europe, for the whole world, never again it'll happen. But since then, how many wars? Actually, if you look at it, there's not been a single day's break on this planet after World War II without at least a battle going on somewhere. So, we have issues. We have economic issues, we have property issues, we have issues, all right? This is the idea of setting up a United Nations, that we will fight with our words and solve our problems. We are not in such a la-la land that we don't have any issues. We have issues. We genuinely have issues, isn't it? That two sets of people believe this is it, that is it, there. But this is the idea of setting up a platform which would solve problems. What has happened? We have pushed it to the side and doing what we want to with each other. So, 20th century, 21st century when it began, everybody said, this is 21st century, this is the age of information, this is technology, this, that, no wars. Tell me how many wars in 21st century? How many nations have been destroyed in 21st century?
Many.
Too many. Too many for 22 years, isn't it?
So how do we wake up?
See, these are things that you can't turn around overnight, but first thing is, within your hearts, your anger and hatred must go. I must tell you this. I used to attend a lot of world peace conferences at one time. For about 2 years, 2.5 years, I attended a lot of international conferences. Then I saw, for a whole lot of people, this conference hopping itself is a profession, they're making a living out of it. I'm the only idiot sitting there thinking we are working for world peace. So I was in a very prominent conference, 42 Nobel laureates were participating and a few ex-heads of state and all that stuff. Because when they're head of state, they will do war. After they retire, they will talk peace. This has been the way of the world. So, I was here and this is the third day afternoon. One particular Nobel laureate, it's his turn to speak, and after that I'm speaking. So he came up and there is no… this podium is a little exposed, a proper big podium, you know, the wooden thing. So he went and stood behind that and he opened his file. He looked down, he never lifted up his head up. He read 42 pages. And I was sitting in the front row trying to grasp every word. I'm watching every page. 42 pages he flipped. Then I look around, the hall is absolutely peaceful. Because everybody, except the security and a few staff who are standing, everybody has fallen asleep. Then I thought, this is world peace for sure. Then my turn to speak came and I said, see, in the last 3 days I've heard so many bombastic speeches about creating world peace. But I'm asking you sincerely, how many of you can place your hand on your heart and say, your mind is peaceful? Because if your mind is not peaceful, if you can't make your mind peaceful, making the damn world peaceful is out of question. Because what you are seeing in the world is a larger manifestation of what's happening in human minds, isn't it? If there are no human beings on this planet, world is peaceful, isn't it? So then I inquired why in the afternoon session everybody has fallen asleep uniformly. You know, there was a certain unity about it, except me and a reader, he's not a speaker, a reader. Everybody has fallen asleep. Then I asked, what happened? He said, no, Sadhguru, yesterday evening there was a Bacardi festival. Oh, free drink. So everybody became peaceful.
So,
That was the last World Peace Conference I went to.
so let us make the wish to make our minds peaceful globally, and I think Olga wants to…
No, this is the whole thing. We can't make everybody's mind peaceful. You can make yours peaceful, I can make mine peaceful, she can make hers peaceful, this is the only way it works. This is the problem. We talk about a world, we talk about a society, we talk about a humanity. No, all these are just vocabulary. There are only human beings. If this one and this one does not solve their problems, the world's problems are never gone. It will manifest in so many ways.
Sadhguru, you have said that our psychological situation can be influenced by what we eat. Medical science is talking about how fruits and vegetables promote psychological wellness. Is there any significance to this? And is a predominantly fruit diet only for someone doing certain kinds of sadhana? Or is it also okay for people in regular situations involving work, family, or lots of physical activity?
In any machine or any kind of fuel that we use, the efficacy of the fuel essentially is in how easily it burns. Why the kind of gasoline you use for automobiles is one thing, what you use in the tractors is one way, what you use in a fast car is another way, what you use in an airplane is another way. Essentially, how easily it burns. You have seen in your gas stations about the octane levels, 87, 89, 90, 91, 93, 96. Well, when we were riding motorcycles, we would pay 3 times and buy 100 octane, because putting 100 octane, suddenly the motorcycle performs in a way that others cannot. So, you know very well, the most easily digestible food is fruit. Digestion means the taragni, the digestive fires as they are known. If these fires have to burn most effectively, fruit is definitely the best thing. Only those people who enjoy inertia, that means they enjoy part of them being dead. Don't think it's a joke. A lot of people do. A lot of people enjoy lethargy and inertia, unfortunately. That means somewhere life has not touched them. So, sleeping, intoxication, overeating and just lying down there feels better than being alive and active and dynamic in one's life. So only for such a person, fruit may be a problem because it'll keep you alert and awake. It doesn't keep you intoxicated, unless it ferments, of course. So it has that quality also, you just have to wait. One can know an extreme sense of joy and intoxication and a deep pleasure out of heightened levels of awareness also. But now the question is, can I be normal and eat fruit? Or can I eat fruit and still be normal? You know, even Adam started with a fruit. So, when we say fruit, we must understand, fruit is one aspect which nature itself intends to be food in the sense. Most fruit, what you find, let's say a mango or an apple, being month of May, I refuse to talk about apple, I'll talk about mango. The seed is the important part of the mango. The flesh is only a draw, it's a lure, so that animals and birds will go for this and carry the seed somewhere far away and drop it. I think for this question, the simple answer is in your general practice of life itself. Suppose you are ill in a hospital, let's say, you're in a hospital bed, nobody brings you chicken biryani, isn't it? They'll bring fruits. Because even your friends and relatives understand that, okay, you're eating all that, you got sick, at least now you eat sensibly. That's a message. So fruit can do miraculous things to the body. Sufficient consumption of fruit can do great things to the system. One can become very, very alive and active, no matter what is your lifestyle. But if you're doing very menial kind of job, let's say you're digging outside every day physically, not with a machine, but you're physically digging and doing very hard work, then you may find every 2 hours you get hungry because of the fruit. Because there is only that much volume you can eat, but it gets digested so rapidly that you may feel empty stomach. Till you come to a certain level of awareness where you are able to be empty stomach and still be energetic. Because hunger is about running out of energy, it's like you're running out of battery, that's why you need to eat. But today, a lot of people, or most people I would say, when they feel little empty in the stomach, they feel like eating. To get out of this, you need a little bit of awareness that you're empty stomach, but still you're okay, because you're energetic. When your energy starts dipping, you eat. So if you go on a total fruit diet, you may have to either spend a little more time on the lunchtime and eat slowly so that you ingest enough fruit. Because with little fruit you will feel full because it's generally sweet. So one has to wait and slowly eat. There is also a bio clock within us that, let us say, your normal meal, cooked meal, you're taking 10-12 minutes to eat. Even if you eat fruit, by the time you reach 10-12 minutes, your body says you've eaten enough. So you have to consciously eat more. Because it is timing you, it is not looking at the fill, it's just timing you. When those 10-12 minutes are gone, you feel you're full. So one has to go beyond that and consume enough. But if you're only on fruit diet and physically very active, it is important that maybe you bring 3 meals into your day, and most of you may already be doing it. So, 3 times a day, if you're sleeping 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever, for the remaining hours, 16 to 18 hours, 3 times eating is more than enough if you're eating fruit. But stomach will feel empty within 2 hours' time. So you must get used to hanging on with high energy but empty stomach. This is the time your brain works best, this is the time as a human being you function best, it'll be good for you. So if you want to use your brain power and also physical activity, it'll work perfectly well. But the fruit that you get in the market today, we don't know what it is filled with. There is a little bit of a problem. Because I clearly noticed this, the kind of country fruits that we used to eat when we were young, and today the farm-grown fruits that are coming to us, even in India, I mean here it's another matter altogether, even in India, they're not the same. They're much bigger, rounder, better looking, but this is like Botox. This doesn't work. I can clearly feel it's not the same level of strength and aliveness in it, simply because this is made for the market, not for the man. These fruits are essentially made for the market. This doesn't mean that they're totally a waste, but they don't have the same nutrient that it used to have. So, we may have to fortify it with some amount of other food. We must check and see what kind of fruits you're exposed to. And seasonally, there are a variety of fruits. It's very incredible that what kind of fruits the land produces at a certain time is most suitable for the system. There's a lot of study about this, how for those seasons when it's cold, when it's hot, when the moisture is very high, the right kind of fruit comes out of the earth. If you're eating from that area, but now you're eating fruit that comes from New Zealand, this is another matter. If you're eating from the land around you, you will see the right kind of fruit is coming to you at the right season. It's the best thing to eat at that time. Above all, it's ecologically a very sensible way to eat. Right now we are launching a campaign that everybody should turn at least 30% fruity. That is, at least 30% of your diet should become fruit. Because if 30% of your food comes from the trees, not from plowed land and crop, ecologically it'll make a huge difference for the world. And if you're trying to shift from heavy meat eating to fruit, then you may find it's like you've eaten nothing because you're used to being pulled down to the earth, eating very heavy food. I want you to understand this. Anyway, you will be pulled down to the earth, that's the nature, okay? But right now, what is called life is that we spring out as if we don't belong. That we fly in such a way that it doesn't look like we're made of earth. Even the bird that soars is made of earth, but when it's soaring up there, it doesn't look like earth. So every life, when it springs out, it should not look like earth, but we are of the earth. But if we want to spring up, the fuel that we consume, the fuel that we put into this system must be that which burns quick and very easily inflammable. What is easily flammable is the best food. In our stomach, without doubt, fruit is that which burns up quickest. So this means least amount of residue, least amount of tax on the system, least amount of stress in the system. So definitely it'll make a huge difference. I knew somebody who went on some 1,008 days of only one fruit. This person went on orange. Only oranges for 1,008 days this lady ate. She was full of ailments when she started. She was a diabetic, high blood pressure, and I don't know, they told me a list of problems that she had, serious very thyroid issues, overweight. In 1,008 days, she came out like she was 20 years younger and full of vitality, all ailments gone totally. This is one person I'm saying, please don't go on just oranges, we'll run short of oranges or at least move to Florida. Yes, fruit will make a wonderful difference, especially in today's world, it's very important because we value a human being, in the work areas I'm saying. We value a human being for their brain power, not their brawn power, unless you're on WW whatever nonsense, okay? So, for this, fruit will make a huge difference for sure. And ecologically, it's the most sensible thing to do. Between fruit and meat, for one person to survive, let's say that you have to survive on just meat, an approximate calculation is, we will need 15,000 liters of water to produce meat for one person for 1 year. If you go on fruit diet, we will need 300 liters of water. You should. All the rivers will flow once again. All you need to do is just be the way you want to be. How do you want to be? That's all. It's that simple, but it's also that far away, isn't it? It's that simple. After all, you want to be joyful, just be that way, who's stopping you? No, they're doing this. See, now, you don't want them to do what they want to do, but you want to do what you want to do. This is a problem. If you want to do what you want to do, you must also be okay with everybody doing what they want to do. That's the only way, because freedom is a two-way stream, isn't it? Yes? Now, is somebody physically torturing you? If that is so, you come, we'll take you away. Because then you need to be protected. Nobody is physically torturing you, they're just doing what they want to do, they're saying what they want to say. Are they just saying just what they know? Isn't it? So, who is causing the mess within you? Yourself. Because somewhere you believe if you become angry, if you become miserable, it may pay off. And it does sometimes. If there are more miserable people around you who value your misery, it pays off, isn't it? Yes? If you act miserable in the house, you get many things. If you're joyful, maybe you don't get. Isn't it so? So you learn the trick. But what you need to understand is the trick is double-edged. If you're miserable, whatever the hell you get, it doesn't mean anything. If you're joyful, you don't get anything, so who cares? So, this is not just your trick. Everybody around you has always been playing this trick. And you thought that's the way. But what is it that you want? You want to be joyful or miserable? So just be the way you want to be. Does it infringe on anybody? Does it infringe on anybody? No. Now I want to smoke. If I do, now this is going to cause some disturbance to somebody. I want to just be happy. Is it infringing on anybody's anything? Is it, I'm asking? So you be the way you want to be, who's stopping you? You cannot do whatever you want to do, but you can be the way you want to be, isn't it? Yes? Can anybody stop you? Others need not even know that you're joyful. If they like a miserable face, give it to them. If they like miserable faces, give it to them, but you can still be joyful, isn't it? Right now we'll experiment, okay? Right now a lot of faces are looking joyful. I want you to maintain the same joy and look miserable. Do it now. Do it now. Let me see. You don't smile at me. Show me a miserable face being joyful within you. You must practice. Please do it. See, this will be needed in your home. If you're all the time ha 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 ha, they'll go crazy. Sometimes they expect a miserable face. What's so spiritual about you, all this damn yoga, he and all? What's the problem? Action should be the way the situation demands. Have I not been insisting on this all the time? But you tell me, which is first? Your way of being is first or action is first? Which comes first? Your way of being. So if you say, I want to be joyful, establish that. Action, as the situation demands. Some people like misery, some people like laughter, some people like crying. Do it. I do everything. Please practice life in the satsang, that's why you're here. Encounter with truth, you know. It should happen here, not after you go home. What I'm telling you is, everything that you do is actually an act, isn't it so? Either you do it consciously or you do it compulsively. If you do it compulsively, you think it's real, but actually it's an act, isn't it so? Everything is cooked up in your head, isn't it, whatever you do? So it's anyway an act. So do you want to do it consciously or do you want to do it compulsively? That's all the choice is. So you do it compulsively and you think it's real, it's a foolish way to exist. It's anyway an act, at least do it consciously, then life will be beautiful. If you do it compulsively, it looks like a trap. It's not a trap. Life is not a trap, because the exit is always there, wide open. Yes or no? Yes or no? Life is not a trap. The exit is always open, everybody is trying to dodge the exit. No? So, if the exit was closed, only then you can call it a trap, isn't it? The exit is always wide open. One moment if you don't take care, you'll be dead. The exit is wide open. Your whole life is to somehow not to reach the exit. Isn't it so? So it is not a trap. It is just that if you think that your acts are all real, then it feels like a trap. Whatever you think, feel and do is your act, isn't it so? Yes or no? When you do not realize it's your act, you think it's God-given instructions. You'll start hearing voices. When you hear voices, it's very clear you need treatment. So, if you ask this one, this wants to be as pleasant as possible, isn't it? Yes? You want to know the highest state of pleasantness, isn't it so? So who is stopping you? No, but they're doing this. They're doing what they like. You be the way you want to be. If you establish your way of being, then whatever you do is just a question of the situation. Depending on what kind of situations when they exist, accordingly we act. No, I want to do my own thing. There is no your own thing. No, I want to become an IT professional. There is no such damn thing. Because you're born today in India, you are thinking of IT professional. Suppose you were born here 1,000 years ago, you would be thinking of fishing in the ocean, isn't it? Yes or no? Action is as the situation demands and offers, isn't it? How to be is yours. If you've decided how to be that way, perform action as it is necessary. Then, if you have a demon for your partner, that's the best thing. But your partner, your husband, wife is not just about spiritual growth, you also want to have a pleasant life in the family. Then you have to choose someone whom you like, but any human being on the planet, there is something that you don't like about them, isn't it so? So you use that part of it for your spiritual growth and the rest of it you enjoy. Just as life. So if your intention is to have a good family, then some rapport is needed between two people, otherwise it won't work. Especially if you have produced children, then rapport is must, otherwise you'll foul the new life that's come up. If you create a foul atmosphere, you'll foul up the new life that is coming up. Nobody has any right to do that actually, but people are doing it. But no human being has any right… You can mess yourself up as much as you want, that's up to you. But you can't mess up a fresh life that's just coming up. So, if you're looking for good life, family life, then one has to find rapport and that rapport means some areas of commonality at least. But if you're looking for spiritual life, it doesn't matter what kind of person he is. You can use everything for your growth. Everything for your growth, if that's all your focus is. But generally your focus is both ways. You want to have a little bit of that and a little bit of this. So mixed fare. So it gets a little complex. So, to build a rapport takes effort, takes compromise, takes love, endurance. Takes endurance, you know. Somebody is constantly like this, you want to build rapport with that person, but you don't want to go his way. That takes lots of endurance. Yes, sir? People whom you love are not easy. So what can you do? One thing is to transform yourself in such a way, being in your presence, unknowingly, their cup will turn around. Just yesterday, you know, the other day I just went out in the rain, I went out and it started raining and I was carrying both my India phones because I was expecting some calls and I mean, one is India, one is Europe, one is America, 3 phones I had. One I had in my jacket, other in my trouser pockets, and by the time I got here it got wet and both the phones just burnt up. Then people around me were telling me, Sadhguru, why carry 2 phones? Now we can have 2 SIM cards in one phone. If you hold it like this, you can speak on the India SIM card. If you turn it around, it just shifts into the other SIM card. You don't have to switch anything, just this way it handles one SIM card. If you turn it around, it handles another SIM card. You have to become like this. I was very suspicious of this phone, I didn't get it, but but you must become like this. If you wish to take people who are around you with you, if you want to walk alone, it's very easy. If you want to take people with you, then it takes a considerable amount of effort. When Gautama was asked this question, is it better to walk alone on the path or with a companion? He's not like me, he's dry. He said, it's better to walk alone than to walk with a fool. He's not saying don't walk with anybody, he's not saying don't have companions, but he said it's better to walk alone than walk with a fool. Because they can drain you, they can take such a lot of energy and time and you don't know, they may be stronger than you and they may take you their way than you taking them your way. There's every possibility, yes? So, I won't say what Gautama said. All I am saying is, it doesn't matter how you walk, as far as your spiritual process is concerned, anyway you're alone. Nobody is with you. It's only the bodily process, the material process of life, which you can share with people. You come alone and you go alone, isn't it? Even if you have a twin brother or a twin sister, you still come alone and go alone, isn't it so? So when it comes to the spirit, anyway, you walk alone. So don't mix that up. So that part of it you handle well, the material part of it according to your capability, to what extent you can do it, you do it. They come your way, it's wonderful. If they don't, It's all right, don't grudge them. It's just that you don't have to go that way. Maybe someday, when the doctor tells you your liver is in a bad state, he may seek divine, you know? Yes. Have you seen people who are walking in the morning? Not everybody, there are certain type of people, these are all over 50, 55 age group people. They have become lean and they're walking briskly every day, religiously they are there. These are all people who generally had a cardiac problem. They almost died. Then their doctor told them, either you do this or you're gone. Now their walking is like a religion. Not Sunday morning, every morning. Have you seen those people? Suddenly they transform, they eat properly, they do everything properly because the fear of life and death has come. So different people need different kinds of impetus. If you're sensible, you learn by just looking. You're not sensible, you learn by thrashing. Life will thrash you. The material part of your life is never 100% proper, never can be, isn't it so? Is there any family which is a perfect family? Is there any relationship which is a perfect relationship? Is there any business which is a perfect business? Is there any career which is a perfect career? There is no such thing, don't seek that. Your life will become wasteful and fanciful if you seek such things. They all happen to the extent you're capable of handling them, that's all. So, you make sure the spiritual part of your life, you handle it 100% properly.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss any new content and invite your friends to join us on this learning adventure.